Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever Soul Link, and that being Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. I need to start this off by saying that I have never even done a Nuzzlocke before, and honestly I just lack overall experience playing Pokemon apart from playing it as a kid or a teenager. I've tried playing some of the more recent ones, but I've always wanted to try doing something like this. And with the slight peer pressure and a lost bet, I am now in a Soul Link Nuzzlocke with my friend SoundOp, who I will refer to as Doug for the rest of the video. Let's start with the rules we followed through our playthrough. We must only encounter one Pokemon per route, but we are still allowed to have our static encounters. If a Pokemon faints in battle, it is considered dead and must be released. Level caps are set to the gym leader's ace, meaning that if any of our mons go over that level cap, it cannot be used until we're done with that gym leader. Mine and Doug's Pokemon are linked, meaning our Route 1 mons are forever linked. If mine dies, so does his. If he is unable to catch a Pokemon on a route, I have to lose the opportunity to catch or keep it on my team. And no primary types can be used twice on either of our teams, meaning if I have a normal type on my team, neither one of us can have a primary normal type for the remaining slots on the team, and trust me, I caught a lot of normal types in this playthrough. We start our run naming ourselves and our rival, then going to Professor Oak to receive our starting Pokemon, mine being a Curlia and Doug getting an Ivysaur. We have a great start by Doug losing to his rival, but thankfully we don't have Pokeballs, so the run continues with no further issues ahead. Or so we hoped.
Alright, so this is the story of our second Soul Link Nuzzlocke. Alright, so I lost. Damn, dude, Vigoroth fucking OP.
After that, we get access to Pokeballs, starting our actual run, and so we head to Route 1 to try to catch our first pairing, to which I ran out of Pokeballs trying to catch an evolved Dugong. And thus putting my score at a 1-0, and yes, I am keeping track of our kill board, to where if I lose an encounter, I get a point, or if I lose them on, I get a point, and vice versa to Doug, and it gets pretty rough, and we might go a little bit into the double digits later on, but that's for you guys to figure out later. We then go to our next route to try to get a second pair, to which I encounter this time a Nidoking. Yeah, a third evolution mon this time. Don't see how any of this is fair. I eventually give up on trying to catch it due to being so low on money after running out of balls against the Dugong. Not to mention he keeps critting my poor Curlia, so I decide to bow out, putting me up to 2 deaths against Doug. The worst thing that happens, Doug, is we reset, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
He critted me twice?
Yeah, he has focused energy, man.
Alright, I might have to give up on this one.
Yeah, I think it's better just for you to be safe.
Then I get the much needed tutorial of how to catch Pokemon from the old man, finally giving me the confidence I need to encounter. Please something simple. I'll take a Weedle at this point. Unbelievable. But I wasn't willing to give up. The old man taught me better than that. So I dug deep down, and with the very last ball, I was able to catch it. But even though I was able to master the strength to catch my first mon of the run, I posted a chance, totally lost a clip here. Didn't want to delete the empty space because it ruined the entire clip, so you get to deal with this picture, but only for a few seconds, and then we're going to right back into the normal video. I promise. Hopefully this is the only mess up in the entire video. I'm sorry. Doug wasn't able to catch his in fear of dying to his Xatu. It sucks not having another pairing, but at least that puts Doug on the kill board. After the many attempts that we tried making to capture a second pairing, we decided that we were somehow ready to battle our rival at Route 22, even though it's absolutely avoidable. Doug would keep trying to tell me and convince me that we should skip it because we are not ready, we cannot beat him with just one pair, but I always told him, Doug, we're not bitches here, we can do this. But then, we lost the run to Jinx killing Ivysaur. So then, we had to start over. So, we start our second run, naming ourselves and our rivals, then going to Professor Oak to receive our starting Pokemon, with mine being Defensive Deoxys, and then Doug's being a Swellow. I believe that's a pretty good, fair pairing. We both got about the same amount of value there, I would say. This time both Doug and I didn't have any issues defeating our rivals, which at this point is already better than our first run. So we were already thinking it's going to continue to be nothing but good luck from this point on. Nothing possibly could go bad, right?
It's bug point. Don't worry about getting it.
Oh, Doug.
Apparently it didn't survive a quick attack.
Arr. Yep, Doug kills a poor innocent Wooper, and then shortly after that he encounters a Ho-Oh, which is totally easy for any real Pokemon master to catch. But the legendary Mon outsmarts dummy Doug and whirlwinds him out of the encounter, but putting me firmly in the lead, which I deserve. The old man once again comes in clutch, this time reminding Doug how to properly catch Pokemon. Now that we both have this apparently rare knowledge, we actually are able to catch a pair that we can use. The bad news is that it's a Tyrogue and a Cascoon. It's not the best pair, but at least we finally have something that we can use besides our starters. Now that we both are carrying absolute wonder teams, we decide, let's put our arrogance to the test once again, go against the rival battle, which we could skip, but we have a pairing. Nothing could possibly go wrong. My plan was use Deoxys for everything, because honestly I can't trust an unevolved Tyrogue, and due to the level cap, he was going to stay unreliable. Thankfully, I had minimal issues against his Rapidash and no issues against Executor for an easy win. Doug, on the other hand, had some issues using his Dustox against a Relicanth and a Slackoth, but we are finally blessed with some good luck, giving him a crit on his Confusion, thus putting us farther than our first run. Of course, defeating our rival, now we have money to purchase Pokeballs again. We can now venture into Viridian Forest to catch another Mon. Doug was able to catch his Charmander, but I eventually ran out of Pokeballs trying to catch a Stantler. Honestly, it's my bad, because I could have used Wrap and wrapped it into the red, but got way too scared and mostly impatient, but that was on me. Either way, it was just a normal type. You could argue it's a better one than Tyrogue for sure, but mostly thanks to Dustox, I think Dustox earned himself and Tyrogue a spot onto our team. I may be just making excuses because I made a huge owie, but we're here with Deoxys and Tyrogue. Everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. So our main plan for the forest was to skip all the trainers except for the ones that are mandatory. Just for now, due to it being randomized, we don't want to die, but even though I ran into some trainers due to me abusing the speed up feature, there were no issues the entire forest. I even came prepared and brought antidotes. We made it through, no issue, but we were both running out of money. We both decided that we needed more potions to go against Brock in the gym, so we wanted to go back to the forest to battle a couple trainers for money, which in complete hindsight was a huge mistake, because the first trainer I battled led with a Parasect, who poisoned my Deoxys, and I happened to use my last antidote, and I was out of money to purchase another one. I was able to beat the Parasect, but next was Apom, to which I stayed in forgetting that Nightshade, that is my strongest move on my Deoxys, won't work on it. So I tried to switch out to Tyrogue and trust him, but he got slaughtered. He did a little damage, but he got slaughtered. I was able to wrap the Apom to death, but eventually the poison took way too much health to batter the Caesar, thus ending our second run. So we start the third run, naming ourselves and our rivals, then going to Professor Oak to receive our starter Pokemon, mine being a Slugma and Doug's being a Beldum, which happens to evolve into his favorite Pokemon. It's totally fair. This time, I lose my rival battle due to my balls starting out with Yawn and Smog, and I didn't think to combo the two, but later on, since Doug called me a bunch of mean names. He also told me that I should have picked Flareon, but my only justification was Slugma evolves into Macargo, so eventually on, it might have been better, but I should have thought about more so now, because we can't seem to get past the first gym. But, oh well. On this run, my first encounter was Dratini, which I caught no problem at all. Might have been a little bit of luck, but you know what? No, this was easy. This was an easy catch. It's that fucking easy. This game is such a fucking easy game. And then Doug was able to catch his Meryl, making us have a second useful pair this early on in the game, which was a good sign. Our next encounters are a Lotad for me and a Sunkern for Doug. Even after Doug used virtually all of his Pokeballs, we were both able to catch our respective Pokemon. The downside is, though, were that Lotad shared the same water typing as Meryl, so we couldn't use them anyways. And since Doug has no Pokeballs and no money to purchase any more, we can't encounter any more pairings, so we decide it's rival time. Didn't want to pass this opportunity up. Let's just go fight our rival. And I don't want to shock anyone watching this, but we lost again to our rival. Doug's Beldum and Meryl fell to the rival, and thus the run ends. So
Again.
oh my god, this is miserable. All right. So we start our fourth run, naming ourselves and our rival, then going to Professor Oak to receive our starter Pokemon, mine being the Blastoise Matilda and Doug's being a Latios. So we both have a good starting Pokemon for a change. Or so I thought. In my rival battle, Matilda loses to my rival's Volbeat. And I don't know what it is, but this Volbeat is absolutely cracked. You will find out this run that it is my absolute nemesis every time I encounter it. Not to mention, my Blastoise, for some reason, when it comes to being paralyzed, confused, sleeping, it just loses to all of those. My Blastoise is not cracked at all. Doug even points it out later on that he doesn't understand why my Blastoise is the way it is. But anyways, it's a Blastoise, so at the end of the day, it is a pretty decent Pokemon. Our first route, Doug encounters a Wishcash first, and my only encounters that were available to me was Barbroach and Staryu, so we have to forfeit this encounter, but since it's technically my fault, I get a point added to my tally, so back to even between Doug and I. Our next encounter is Buck the Lickitung and Sudowoodo. At first, I was upset at this encounter, thinking that Lickitung would be useless, but we will soon see and find out that Buck is almost the sole reason that this run becomes as successful as it is. I don't want to spoil anything, but this run is better than the other ones. There's not that much competition since, we haven't even made it to our first gym leader, but Buck is the one that gets props for this run. Absolutely. But yeah, we do catch Buck and suck my wood Sudowoodo. We got a couple more encounters before we can make bad decisions. First being a Togetic and a Natu. With Buck having moves that can do little damage, we were able to catch this pairing. Our next one being in the forest was a Bagon and a Miltank. And trying to catch this pseudo-legendary with the little amount of Pokeballs I had wasn't very favorable for me, as I eventually run out, missing on this awesome pair. Now that we have encountered all that we could, before our rival battle, we had a choice between our other two normal pairings, being Lickitung and Togetic. We eventually go with the latter, on the pure chance Metronome could save me in the battle that has caused us the most trouble. Thankfully though, in this rival battle, I only had to use Matilda, even though that villainous Volbeat was bullying me with Confused Ray and Sand Attack. Doug, of course, had no issues using a Latios against a Shroomish and a Horsey. Thus, we finally beat our rival battle, and we are on the verge of getting farther than any of our previous runs. At this point, we were just determined to beat a gym leader. We needed the validation that we aren't terrible at a kids game. So we went through the forest, avoiding most trainers, and we thankfully had enough money to make sure that we had the potions needed to go against Brock. We stepped into that gym with a painful past, but confidence in our hearts. I struck down his Poliwhirl and Venomoth with ease, using my Matilda, and Doug was able to vanquish the probably scary, but Doug would never show it on his face, Illumise, and the fully evolved Venusaur. And finally, we have achieved greatness, earning our first badge after almost 4 hours of playing this game. Young me would be so proud. So we officially made it farther than any previous runs. By the end of the day, our party wasn't the greatest, so our plan was to open any trainer battles with our starting Pokemon because we didn't trust our other pairing. And we wanted to make sure to catch as many of our encounters as we possibly can and hope that those pairings we can actually use on our team so we can have more than 2 party members per team. Our next encounter was Doug encountering a Kecleon first, which sucks because it was a normal type, but hopefully I get encounter something better so we can switch out Togetic and Natu. I first encountered Wartortle, so I used Dupe's Claws to encounter it in Articuno. Any other day, I would have been so lucky and over the moon, but I only had like 8 Pokeballs, and I tried using 1 or 2, but I eventually decided that the best case for us was for me to run and use our Pokeballs in the next few routes. We then get our first static encounter at the Poke Center before Mount Moon. Mine was a Ninetales, which I thought was really cool, but eventually found out doesn't learn any good moves by level up. And then Doug's was a Magikarp, and we actually thought that he defeated the odds, and actually somehow the randomizer gave him a Magikarp in place of a Magikarp, but we found out that he messed up his randomizer, so further on for static encounters he would have to re-encounter at the closest route to him. We go into Mount Moon, where this time I encounter a Miltank, so another normal type. Awesome stuff. Doug had to go down a few levels in Mount Moon here because he kept either getting Dupe's Claws with like the Magikarp or just a bunch of normal types, but he eventually found a Whiscash. But he eventually killed it.
Oh, I killed it. Why are you being silent?
Oh, fuck me. Now we're actually making our way through Mount Moon. Apparently this was the legendary round table for all legendary mons because I kept encountering Suicunes and Mewtwo's. And I was mostly leading with my Togetic, and because Matilda was close to the level cap, so I didn't want to abuse that. So I just metronomed it up with my good old egg. But even using that strategy, I was able to get through the Team Rocket Grunt and the Super Nerd. We got our Helix Fossil, and we made it out of this cave. So after we beat the first gym, we're not meeting any of our goals. We're not making any additions to our team, because every time we find an encounter, we're either unable to catch it or its typing doesn't make any additions to the team. And there might also be the fact that we find one like Primeape and Flareon, but I and Doug forgot to purchase any more Pokeballs before this encounter, and it starts throttling my good old Buck, and then I'm not able to capture it because I wasn't able to put any status ailments on it, and I only had 1 Pokeball. But we both made a mistake here. It might have been more one-sided, but we both made a mistake here. So we go into the second gym, making no changes to our team. I go up against a Lickitung and a Rattata, and Doug is Golem and Deoxys. With a challenge, I somehow beat Misty before him, and eventually he did the same.
Oh my god, Suck My Wood came in clutch.
Nice. And then we meet our rival again, which we were honestly scared to do from how many runs he has ended beforehand. Doug is able to absolutely wipe the floor with his Latios, but I I had some other struggles. I wanted to use Buck to go against a Pelipper because honestly I need to spread out the XP for the future level caps, and we have this bridge to do, so I need to use Matilda as less as possible. And then I have Matilda go against the Volbeat, the one-on-one from the beginning, and this, I swear, every confusion just worked against me. He does like one double team and all of a sudden it's impossible to hit him. Eventually, I'm able to snap out of the confusion, and I'm able to finally put this menace to rest, and we finally beat our rival again, second time. After the rival battle, we had to go through the bridge gauntlet, to where I wanted to prioritize using Buck as much as possible, because again, I wanted to save pumping XP to Matilda so that I can always have her as the option in case of emergency. Most of these battles, however, I would have to switch out to Matilda because Buck was probably going to die, and I didn't want to cause Doug to lose any mons, but at least then, it was half experience given to Matilda. Buck, near the end of this, eventually learned Stomp, so he finally has a pretty decent damage move to where I don't have to just lick every opponent. This also showed me that I really needed another viable option that wasn't just Matilda, so I was just praying on this next encounter.
Alright, what do you got?
Oh no! No! Oh my god!
Huh. Okay, you need to catch that.
Oh my god! You're gonna get licked so hard, Jirachi.
You need to catch that.
I'll do my best. Yep, that happened. My next encounter was a Jirachi to Doug's Jolteon. Of course, he catches a Jolteon with ease, and he can watch as I spend the next 10 or so minutes doing everything I can against a legendary who has Wish and Rest. So my only plan was to survive, in hopes that it either uses up those moves or I can somehow just get very lucky. So I would alternate my defense curls, stomps, supersonics, and licks, and just hoped for the best. I couldn't just run away like from previous Articunos or third evolution Mons. Doug and I needed another pairing, and another useful one at that. Him and I, we were running out of hope, so I needed to do everything I could to catch this Mon and hopefully make this run the run. And I did not quit until this happened. Okay.
This is it. This is it.
Let's fucking go! Yes!
Yay.
Ah! I was somehow able to pull it off. I'm sorry, Buck was the reason that we pulled this off. He was now my #1 option to catch most Mons in the future. But now I had one wish to absolutely tear through everything and everyone. And we did that. We were able to catch a Grand Bull and a Ladian, or Ladybug. We teared through all of these trainers with mainly one wish, absolutely soloing everyone from legendaries to these little tiny Pokemon. I was now in the clear. I had Matilda and Jirachi. We did that, and then we saved Bill to get our boat ticket. So to speed through the rest of these encounters, I found a Regice, ran away from it because it's going to obliterate anything with Explode. I then encounter an Electrode, who I believe I can survive and Explode too, but as I catch it, Doug kills his Jigglypuff, so I can't have it. We get our old rod, and then we fish, and I was able to get a Hariyama, but Doug unfortunately caught a Slowpoke, so we weren't able to use that either. And this was kind of the trend that we kept having, is I would find all the normal types, Doug would find all the water types, so many encounters on this run, we cannot make any additions to the team because we don't want to get rid of Matilda or Latios, and Lickitung is now a viable member. And then we go into Diglett's Cave, where I find a Dustox, and then, of course, he finds a Kingler. So yeah, doesn't help us at all. And then, after we catch those Mons, we go on to the next encounter, where Doug gets an Executor, and I find a Latios, which we obviously can't use because Doug has one of those mons. But at the end of the day, it eventually kills itself with Memento, so we're not able to use that pairing at all anyways. Heading on to SSN, we decide to use a brand new team due to the level cap. So I now have Gramble, Ninetales, and Jirachi, so I have no issues here. The issue with Ninetales itself, though, is that it doesn't learn a lot of moves via level up, but maybe later on I could use it for, TMs. No issues here for my team, though. The only one that gave a little bit of struggle was, of course, the Evil Volbeat. Doug had to deal with a Wobbuffet on his rival battle, but once he got through that, he was able to finish the battle no issue, and then finish up that, and then head to the gym. So then the battle with Lieutenant Surge begins. I obliterate his first Mon with Jirachi, and then he pulls out this.
Last I checked.
I didn't even look at what Mon he's throwing out. I'm hoping for the best.
What did he throw out?
A Regice.
Oh, that explodes.
But then I had no issues with Regice. He didn't even use Explode once. I honestly think I would have survived it if he did use Explode. I did have the typing advantage against him. Doug, however, had a problem with Zapdos. And I was just sitting there chilling with Jirachi. I obliterated Meowth, and then I sat there waiting for Doug to finish, and eventually he gets through the Zapdos, and then we get our third gym badge. Now that we have a Old Rod, we go back to previous cities with water to fish in it. I have to rerun our Snubbull because I have a Gramble, so later on we get Good Rod. I will match up to his Pineco. Same thing for Doug, I catched a Geodude. He had a Anorith, which we will re-roll later on when we have later better rods. And then he found a Vaporeon, and in my route I had a Totodile, a Feraligatr, and a Slowking, so I have to forfeit that encounter and lose a point. But then we actually find a new pairing in Haunter and Wobbuffet. We're successfully able to catch these. I was worried about using Haunter through Rock Tunnel, but Doug convinced me and told me what to avoid, and then this happened.
Don't let a ghost or a psychic type hit you, and you'll be fine.
Okay. Oh, Lunatone, hi.
This is also an encounter, by the way.
The cave?
Yeah.
You're already in the cave?
Yeah, of course I'm in the cave.
Doug.
Did you just kill our hunter? Did you forget that was a psychic type? Buddy. My guy. I literally told you.
Oh, man.
Watch out for the psychic types.
I'm the worst.
It's what you had to do.
Oh. Man, funny stuff, huh? Woo. Woo.
I'm laughing because I'm in pain.
Oh, man.
Anyways, I'm gonna look up what this god dang.
Well, time to good old
Already. Yeah, you killed him already. His first battle. You didn't even need to do that battle, by the way.
I know, there's trees. I forgot about the trees, Doug.
This Ariodus is a bug type, by the way.
All right, Haunter. You did your best. But now you must leave.
You said you was second, not him.
Goodbye.
Come on, man. All you had to do was dodge the psychic moves. That's it.
Dude, I saw Lunatone and I was like, ooh, rock. Big rock.
I'm correct, at least.
Alright, well, time to remove that pixie from the good old... Yep, I absolutely ruined that pairing for Doug and I, because I saw that Lunatone and just saw rock, and then died. Anyways, we got Kirlia and Ariados in the Rock Tunnel, which is now our fourth pairing on the team. We made it through Rock Tunnel without Flash, because we needed a certain number of species caught to get it, and I thought it would be unfair to catch it following the Nuzzlocke rules, and it also would have just costed us way too much money that we didn't have. So I used a tactic of hug the wall to make it out of the rock tunnel without hardly any issues. And after the rock tunnel, we had several more encounters to go through. There was a few issues with these encounters, and that is that they were a lot similar. First, I got to catch a normal type in the X-Cloud to Doug's Electrike, and then we had another normal type in Furret to his Swineup. We had a static encounter, which was a normal type Clefairy to his Eevee, which he had to re-roll, that eventually became a Salamence, but again, can't use normal types. It's already been taken. And then that also ruined his Dragon type Latios, and then it was just always a domino effect. Then we had the amazing pair of Lairon to Latias, which I thought would be cool. I think it'd be fair to get rid of Latios and Blastoise for that pairing, but eventually the Latias died to an eventual Sandstorm. Thanks a lot, Darude. Then we got an Execute to his normal type Dotrio. I killed the Execute, but honestly, no big deal. And then our last encounter, you would have to guess it. It was a normal type Vigoroth to his Numel. And at this point, I have been low on funds the entire run, and all these normal types are not helping to my case. I started to have, a little bit of a freak out, you could say. Just get in the ball. You're wasting all my money. I was starting to lose my mind. And it even happened in the gym leader with Erica. I was just fighting just a random trainer in her gym. I accidentally, instead of using a potion or something like that, I threw a great ball, which apparently in the old games it just goes off. And then I might have had another breakdown. Go first, because oh, that's a great ball. My money! No!
My money!
And then in between battles, I was curious. I wanted to maybe look at the situation here. What's in the box? Maybe I'm overreacting on how many normal types that we had. Let's do a tally here. I want to see how many normal types we have. 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6.
I have none. I have no normal types. I just have a couple I have like 3 water types. Oh my god. You could just not get a normal.
So yeah, I had almost half of my caught encounters being normal types. And this is only the 4th gym leader. Anyways, we go against Erica, who had a Regirock, a Sharpedo, and then a freaking... I couldn't believe it. She had a freaking Mewtwo. I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to who's coming out. I didn't pay attention to who's off. Oh god. I'm stressed. I'm sweating.
I also love Pokemon. Dude, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun when 2 people...
But yeah, after having my 5th mental breakdown in the past probably the 20 minutes of our recording, I was able to get through Erica with hardly any problems. Doug, of course, had a breeze with his legendary. I honestly should have just kept Drachi out. But anyways, we got our 4th gym badge. Moving on. Another gym out of the way, and now we go against a rival battle again, which Doug was able to absolutely sweep through his with his legendary Latios. I took some time because honestly, I'm just very scared of losing any more encounters. I feel like we actually finally have a team comp, so I just don't want to lose that. I eventually get over the win on him, and then we go into the dojo, even though we're a lower level than the dojo. Blastoise had trouble with a Charizard. I know he's lower level, but I don't think I should have that much trouble. But anyways, I got a Shroomish, and Doug got a Corsola out of it. We then fight a Team Rocket Grunt to reveal their secret base under the casino. Our main goal in the hideout was to get every item we could, since it's randomized, and maybe I could finally get some money, and you don't have to fight every single trainer here. I ended up finding a leftovers, which is great. I was able to put it on Buck, being the Pokemon that I use the most when I'm trying to catch new encounters. I'm not as lucky in the sense because that was kind of the only item I found here. I'm not like Doug, who has found, I think, 2 nuggets just in this run. He has been financially stable this entire run, but it's fine. I got leftovers, which is a really good item, and then we were able to go against the sus Giovanni.
Time you saying, so maybe it's important.
I don't know, Slugma.
Oh, Gulpin.
What are the odds? After somehow Poliwag gives Matilda trouble, we beat Giovanni to get the Silph Scope to get my favorite encounter in Larvitar. But unfortunately, Doug gets a Goldeen, and even though he was okay with rearranging the team, I said it wasn't worth it. We ended up finishing the Pokemon Tower to use the Pokeflute to get yet another normal typing in Kecleon and Gligar. We then wanted to backtrack to get more encounters, but we needed Fly, and I ended up using 26 Pokeballs on a Murkrow, even paralyzing it and getting it to 1 HP. I wasn't able to capture it, so we ended up having to walk. After walking all the way back, I matched a Houndour to the earlier Pineco, but unfortunately it roared me out of the encounter. We also caught an Oddish to match up with my Geodude, which we made it into our team. And then I caught a Kingdra to his Cascoon, unfortunately water type, so it won't be there. Got a water type in Tentacruel as well to his Hypno, so it will not go on the team. And then I accidentally matched up with a trainer who had a Ho-Oh and a Latios on his team. Made a lot of trouble that was unnecessary, but you know, having Jirachi on my team, was able to eventually get rid of both of them. No issues, just a little bit of scariness. Then I got a Nidoking to his Cleffa, which is another normal type. Can't go on the team. Then after that, I surfed up a Regirock out of the water, and then it blew itself up, causing me the encounter. And then we went to the Safari Zone where he got an Eevee, and then I wasn't able to catch the Growlithe before it ran away. We got the TM of Surf, and then Doug found his favorite Pokemon in Metang, and on my way there, I ran into a trainer on accident, and before I was even able to touch the patch of grass, he killed his favorite Pokemon. Then later on, I was able to surf up the Fire Horse out of the water, absolutely doesn't belong there, where we were able to catch Rapidash and Shroomish. After those mini encounters, we added Rapidash in place of the Graveler for the Silph Cove Tower. The plan was pretty much the same as the last hideout, find all the items to make our team better, or to sell them for the much needed cash for myself, because Doug is still set on cash, probably for the rest of the game. Most trainers don't cause any issues for us since Doug and I both can lead with our legendaries. After going through the entire tower, we eventually run into our rival, who honestly didn't have the best team this time, making him a breeze for a change. We also got our static encounter, mine being a Pidgeot, and Doug, after re-encountering, was able to find a Mr. Mime. And now I finally have a flyer, so I don't have to walk to every place when it comes to backtracking or anything like that. And then I'll actually eventually need it later when we go to the islands and whatnot. We also took on Giovanni for the second time, who also didn't have the best team in the world, so I was able to just take him on. He had Slugma again, which I thought was funny, but we ended up beating him, clearing the Silph Co, and getting our Master Ball and heading to the 5th gym. Moving on to Gym Leader Sabrina. Honestly, wasn't that much of a challenge. She had pretty weak-ish Mons. She had a Yanma, which I was second-guessing myself, but then she had a Dragonite, which also made me second-guess myself, but then I was like, oh yeah, Jirachi. Easy Gym Leader, beat that. And then we move on to Koga, who also I just wiped the floor with, just used Jirachi for everything. And it was a super fast gym. On to many more encounters. We got our bike vouchers to open up some more encounters. I got a Shelgon to his cast form. Probably not going to ever use it. Shelgon's a normal type. I have plenty of those, and it's not the best. We got a Diglett to his Tentacool. Another water type. Perfect. Got a Leap to his Metapod. Also typing we probably won't use. And then we got a Poliwrath to his Miltank. Now we have a water and normal pairing, which absolutely won't be able to use. Then I got a Melodic, which is a great water type, to his Chikorita. I wish we would have subbed this in, but it is what it is. I got an Abra to his eventual Gengar, which I love this pairing. Two of my favorite Mons. And then we got a Wyanote to his Swampert, which is also a great pairing for the future. And then a Chansey to his Squirtle. Another normal water pairing. We'll probably not use. But after all these encounters, I just want to say, screw the Pokemon Mansion. There's absolutely no reason why there should be this amount of encounters every 5 steps that you take. I ended up losing my absolute mind here because it was every few steps I was getting an encounter. I ended up using all of my repels and my super repels that I've just happened to pick up. I wish I would have spent the little money I had to have repels, and then I ended up solving the puzzle thanks to Doug's help, get to the bottom floor, and I found a Wobbuffet, which I had to, with Doug's help, get around. Fought it for like 5 minutes, could have lost my Jirachi and would have absolutely ruined the run. Thankfully, I'm able to beat the Wobbuffet, and right after the encounter and the heartbreak, I was able to find a Smoke Ball, which I just put right onto Jirachi to avoid any future Wobbuffets. After that hell, on to the next gym leader, where Doug wanted me to answer all the questions. Of course, I didn't know you had to go to the machine. First gym leader, I talked right to the guy, answered the next question right, and then the Poliwag question tricked me because Politoed, and then Doug told me no, wrong generation. But then he told me to click yes, so we fought the next gym, and then answered the next one correctly. But then like the last question is absolute bull. Who would know? No. Let's fucking go. I'm so fucking smart.
You are absolutely correct, it says. Alright. Well,
and then we went on to Blaine, whose only real challenge was his opening Dragonite. His other Mons, I kind of just wiped the floor with. But that's another gym badge. Down. We had a choice on whether or not we wanted to go to the islands or not. I eventually decided, hey, let's go, because any encounters could mean a lot at the end. We were just talking about we needed dark types, and of course he encounters a Poochyena, and then I got Mightyena, but I eventually got Psyduck to match up with it. Another water type, no big deal. And then I got a Dusclops, and then he got an Abra, which eventually teleports away, so he lost that encounter. Got a Kingler to his Lombre. Unfortunately, another water type. We just can't get enough of them. We beat up a bunch of bikers to go to our next encounters, and what happens next makes me think we should have never came to these islands in the first place. Son of a bitch.
is there a problem?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're Lickitung! No, not the goat! Not the goat! No! I feel Sudowoodo's life leaving.
I don't even know if I just got critted or not. I honestly, it just
That's
happened.
what it was. I think you got critted.
It just happened so fast.
Not the fucking goat. No. Hey, dude, that gets rid of your normal type.
One of my 9. Yep, I lost the ace of our team, the thing that helped me catch most mons, but we had to move on. I added Larry the Furret as my next normal type begrudgingly. I thought he would be useless. He does help me catch a Kakuna. We save the girl from the Galele. And then we find another Houndoom who roars us away. And then I find a cast form to his Kadabra, which we caught. But with this new team, we now have to face the last gym leader. So not only did I lose the ace of our team, I say our because now Doug and I are part of the same team. Doug could agree that Buck is the reason why this run was the way that it is, because without Buck, I wouldn't have been able to catch a Jirachi, and Jirachi was the main thing that I would use in any situation. I would normally start off with him, and I was confident that I could beat any gym, any rival if I started off with Jirachi, and it was all thanks to Buck. Buck was also the reason I caught most of the Pokemon on all the routes, because he was defensive, even without leftovers, and he was able to whittle them away. But with our new team, we went through Giovanni's underlings, went up to Giovanni. He didn't have anything. This guy's supposed to be the leader of Team Rocket. His best mon was a Blastoise, which, having a Blastoise, being Matilda, I wasn't that scared at all. Beat him, collected all the gems, then we go to a familiar place that ended most of mine and Doug's run, and we wanted to squash this rival, and he didn't have much until he threw out his own Jirachi. He must have saw how many times that I beat him with my one wish, and he was like, you know what, I want to catch one of those myself. And he had wish and rest. And the last time I came across the Jirachi, I of course had Buck, who would survive most attacks, raise its defense, whittle it down, make it use all of the PP for wish and rest. But I didn't have that now. I needed a new plan, and that plan was the rotation of Helen using Overheat, switching out to Jirachi or Matilda so that Helen's special attack could get back. Eventually I used up all of the fire moves, so then I switch out to Dwayne, the Golem, to also use moves to whittle it down and survive attacks. And this was a roller coaster. I thought I was going to have to use Explosion to lose a parry, otherwise I would just lose the run to this Jirachi. But over time, I was able to beat the Jirachi, beating our rival and putting us on the track to Victory Road. So finally, after 4 attempts, we were on our path to Victory Road. We were able to catch our second to last pairing in the water to Victory Road, being a Remoraid for Doug, and for me somehow being a Loomies, which is total poetry. And then when we went into the actual Victory Road, we used our Master Balls for me to catch a Crobat, being the last encounter. I named it Final just to be the last encounter, and his being a Kabuto. But this was it. We finally made it. Over 10 hours at this point. Way longer than it should have been. 4 runs. Losing many mons, losing many encounters, catching beyond too many normal types. We were finally on the road to the Elite Four. We got through some of the trainers, we finished the puzzle, and then we made it out of Victory Road, and we were on to our biggest challenge of possibly the whole run. So then we got to the Elite Four place, and we decided we wanted a final look at our possible team comp, and we realized that we added the wrong pairing around the Pokemon Mansion. Doug was supposed to take out Ariados with the Curlia, so yeah, we weren't supposed to have Rapidash and Ariados, so we ended up changing our comp, and we had 5 mons going into the Elite Four, which kind of sucks. We're really hoping that we could have 6 mons for the Elite Four because honestly we need as many as we possibly can. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad that we did go in with 5 mons, almost as a punishment for us messing up earlier. He didn't really use his Ariados in a lot of the big fights. I used my Rapidash in the rival fight, which I probably could have beat the rival without him. But again, we don't know. I'm also very bad at Pokemon, so I could have possibly lost a couple mons there or the whole run. But anyways, we were going into this with our 5 teams. We sold pretty much everything except for what we were going to use, loaded up on healing items, equipped our mons, and we were going into this kind of scared. The way that we're doing the level cap for this, because we were able to hack in rare candies, is we are level capping to each ace, because we thought that that was the best way of doing it to make it more challenging. We decided that before we found out that we messed up earlier, but it was also kind of nice because it makes it more challenging, almost in punishment of us screwing up earlier. But we are sorry that we messed up, but at the same time we did kind of go through hell in the beginning, not justifying it. But this is a semi. We did fine. We did fine with what we had. And now we're fighting the Elite Four with 5 people on a randomizer, so it is equal. Up first is the Elite Four member Lorelei, and of course my plan is to always lead with 1 wish. And that's kind of the only plan that I had. But most of all, Lorelei did not have that much of a competition. Onyx was a breeze, and if you notice that almost every time I defeat a Mon, I pretty much pause my game and I look at the typing of what's coming out next, and then I look at a type chart because I don't want to make any mistakes. This is the end game, and if I make any kind of errors, this doesn't only affect me, but affects Doug's run as well. So I'm not willing to make any mistakes, no matter what it is. And for that, Doug usually finishes his battle before I do, and he's usually waiting for me at the end. But, you know, on this one, I actually had to use Larry at the end because Shiftry is quad affected a fighting type, which I equipped Larry with a Focus Punch. Next on the Elite Forest is Bruno, and I don't know why I wanted to lead with Merlin the Alakazam, because I should have just led with Jirachi at all times. I think I just wanted to use him, but I'm able to defeat the Gardevoir and the Noctowl, no problems whatsoever. Matilda's doing what she's supposed to do, and just, you know, surviving, I guess. And then I go against a Skarmory, which again, I just look to see what I'm supposed to do. I should always just use Jirachi no matter what. And then Charizard, of course I bring out Matilda, who has, again, more troubles than she should with a Charizard. And then I defeat the Growlithe, no problem. Number 3 being Agatha, and I'm still leading with my Merlin for no reason, and I decide to stay in against the Slacking, and this happens. I just lost Alakazam.
No way.
Yep.
Oh my god. That means I can't fucking use Gengar. Well, I won.
That's good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that Furt coming in clutch?
Shut the fuck up. Every fucking time with you. And he's about to kill this Poochyena too. Yep, I lost Merlin, making me and Doug go down to 4 mons for the rest of the Elite Four, but I cleaned up with Furret, which Doug had to point out because we had a long debate, and I thought Furret would be useless. But thanks to that, we ended up clearing up Agatha and going on to Lance for the final of the Elite Four.
Trainer is using.
Why not for me?
Whismer.
He used Miracoat.
Oh no!
Yep, that makes 2 times in a row where I decided to not lead with my now ace being One Wish Jirachi. I decided to lead off with Blastoise, my Matilda, who time and time again has proven not to be reliable. And then I also forgot about why not being Devil's Offspring, having Mirror Coat, having Counter, having all the terrible things that can happen to a Nuzlocker. But eventually, over time, using my Jirachi, going through Wish, Psychic, Swift, deciding if Doom Desire would be enough to finish it off, I eventually used Doom Desire, finishing off the Why Not. And then from then on, I had a pretty easy challenge. Dwayne destroyed their Arcanine. And then Dwayne destroyed their Swinub shortly after it. And then, of course, Larry was able to come in clutch and finish off the Clefairy. And then I finished off with One Wish, ending Lance and going to face a rival one last time. So we are finally on to the last battle with our rival, the one person who has ended most of our runs, killed the most of our Pokemon, and we had to go against him with only 3 party members. This is almost as bad as when we first started, but I just had to go into it, be patient, defeated his first Carvana, was seen in Omnimite, and of course, the best thing to end it was Larry. Absolutely melted the floor with the Omnimite, being resourceful again. And I'm able to defeat the Sparrow with ease with my Dwayne. And then the next mon that was supposed to come out would be an Aggron, which at first is very intimidating, but then I see that it's quad effective to fighting. But of course I'm scared because it's a Furret. Like, there's no way. And then the Furret hits it with a Focus Punch, one-shots the Aggron. I'm in disbelief because it's, again, a Furret, but absolutely came in clutch for me at the end. And then I'm just met up with a Parasect, which I can defeat with Dwayne, absolutely no problem. And then I have to go against the final Mon, and we all know who it is.
It does actually quite a bit, surprisingly. Okay, 2
His
paralysis
last
in a row.
one being a Volbeat, I forgot. I swear.
The true challenger approaches.
I have a golem. Okay. I Wait, Doug. I'm gonna wait.
Jolt's dead.
Well, I'm not. I'm good.
I'm not. Okay, it's
So Doug unfortunately lost his Jolteon, which means that I lost Jirachi. And at first I was scared, but then I remembered what Golem has. And then I have a plan for this Volbeat.
But net, that I should be able to deal with.
I'm kind of waiting for you to finish because I want my final move to be Explosion.
Send it off with a message.
I almost did it, but then I was like, oh wait, I can't.
Yeah, I kind of need my mod.
Just a dicky in the end.
Oh god.
Yeah, I remember exactly what this Volbeat has done to me this entire run, so I want to blow this thing out of the sky. But sitting there waiting while Doug finishes off his Mon, I started to think a lot, and I got scared, and I had second thoughts.
This is tough.
No, I'm just gonna hit Rock Blast, because I what if I don't kill with an explosion, you know?
See it out?
This Volbeat, this whole run.
Okay, I missed every blizzard. It Will-O-Wisp? It missed?
This whole run, this Volbeat has gotten in my fucking head.
It does hit. Earthquake does hit. Dude, an explosion absolutely one-shots that, okay? Alright, I dealt with the Banette. I think there's one more Pokemon.
Which is his starter. So at this point, Doug has convinced me that I need to do it. I can't do it. I have to put this Volbeat down. and I have to do it this way. It's for the run. It's for all the things that did to us in the past. So I click that button, and this happens. So I want to hit explosion,
I want to watch this. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Use
do it.
protect. Oh my god! What if happened? No! No way! No fucking way!
All right, it's up the way.
That was to win the fucking Soul Link. No way, dude. This fucking full beat is cracked. The absolute worst thing that could have happened happened. I now am looking at the one thing that has been the detriment to my run every single time I've come with this rival. I don't have One Wish. I don't have Dwayne. I don't have Matilda. I don't have Buck. I have Larry. The Mon that before this Elite Four I said wouldn't do anything. And now I'm in this situation where he's my last resort. And I'm currently going against a Volbeat that is using Protect, is knocking me out of the Focus Punch every time, which is my only like viable move. I somehow hit Thunders to get it to paralyze itself multiple times. I hit Cut, and there's this constant battle. I'm worried. I mean, I have enough healing, but like if he crits me or if something bad happens, the run could end. He uses like 2 full restores. He probably saved him for this Volbeat. But it had to come to an end, and I finally did it. This finally happened.
This is the
He
fight
has
of the
1
century.
HP. Oh, he's gonna kill himself!
Oh my god!
We did it!
You did it!
We did it! Larry!
Larry! Oh my god.
Wow.
The last team.
So Larry, the Furret, came in clutch, got us to become champions. Me and Doug, oh, we could not believe it. I mean, Doug could. He kept shouting at me saying that it was Larry all along. But man, this was beyond fun. I've never done a Nuzzlocke before, much less a Soul Link. And at first I thought that we wouldn't be able to make it. I mean, we had, what, 3 or 4 bad runs, whiting out. We happened to get lucky. We got pretty decent starters. As much as I bag on Matilda, having a Blastoise, no matter how bad it is a great start. And then eventually getting Buck, who got me Jirachi. Getting Jirachi pretty much saved this run. Because I'm not good at Pokemon, but having that as my resource made the run. And of course, we had Buck at the end of it, well, near the end, losing the one Mon that got us like so many other encounters. So I had to learn how to be resourceful with other things. Eventually using Larry the Furret at the end to somehow beat our rival. One-shotted many Mons. Ended up being the one Mon to stand off with the Volbeat, who I still don't understand how cracked this Volbeat is. It's a competitive Volbeat, I guess. It predicted what I wanted to do with my Dwayne, which at the end of the day, this was so much fun. I hope that you guys like this video. Please check out SoundOp. I'm going to link his YouTube channel in the description. Check out both of our Twitches. We live stream every now and then when we can. We do plan on live streaming Heart Gold and Soul Silver next weekend. We should probably make a schedule on our Twitch when we actually decide a date on it. So go to both of our Twitches, give us a follow, check when we're going to live stream this again, because I definitely want to do this again. This was definitely some real fun that I had. And also put in the comments on some things. This is probably the biggest project I've had to edit before. It's probably not going to be the greatest. I really did do my best. Spent way longer than I thought it would be. Hopefully the next time I make one of these videos, it's going to be a lot better. But again, this was just so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to check out the VODs, they're still there on my Twitch. Again, everything's going to be in the description. Doug's YouTube and Twitch and my Twitch. Please like, comment, and subscribe and all that other stuff. And yeah, I will eventually do more manga content if you're a previous viewer. I promise it'll be on there. But yeah, this has been a great time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.
Damn, I love this song.